So today I just want to share with you a very little known secret in terms of presentations. Now that could be a speech, it could be public talk, it could just be sharing information in a meeting setting while you're at work. That secret, I think, is called what I call the pause. It's the very standard, very modest pause that you can do while you're speaking. Now, why do I call it a secret? Well, quite simply, in the number of hundreds of presentations that I've witnessed over the years, probably thousands in fact, very few people take the time to pause. And there's a reason for that. For most people, most of the time, unless they're very well versed at this stuff and have been trained by professionals, they tend to be nervous when it comes to giving presentations or giving a talk. And the fact that they're nervous means that they're not breathing as well as they could be. They're a little bit anxious. Their pitch goes up because they're speaking more quickly. They're speeding up as they get more nervous. And the more nervous and the more anxious they get, the higher the pitch and the faster they're talking. And the faster they're talking, the less they're breathing. And the less they're breathing, the higher the pitch goes. And that is a bit of a problem. Since if you're trying to convey your message in an authoritative way, with gravitas, to enable your audience to understand what you're saying and to take action on what you're saying, then one of the best things you can do is simply pause. So let's move on to the slides. So here are the slides, and yes, there's a big symbol of a pause in the middle of the slide. You know me, I like simplicity, and this really drives the point home about the pause. So the power of the pause is something, as I said, it's overlooked because the vast majority of people out there tend to be nervous when they give a presentation. So they just want to get that information out there as quickly as possible and go away, run away and sit down again. Unfortunately, delivering presentations in that manner doesn't necessarily connect with your audience. You don't necessarily, you may transmit that information, but it may not be received as well as you think it is being, or as well as you think it should be, because you're simply throwing that information out too quickly. So let's have a look at the power of the pause in terms of what benefit it is for you as the speaker. The benefits for you as the speaker or the presenter are quite simply 4 points. There are others, but these are probably the main ones. It allows you time and space to gather your thoughts. It allows you to move with purpose. What I've seen many times when people are presenting, they're rushing to the laptop to change a slide. They're running over to the flip chart to jot something down. And in the meantime, they keep talking. Why? Because they're afraid of the silence. And if they're afraid of the silence, they just keep talking as they're doing other stuff. And that kind of feels a little bit rushed for the audience. So when you're moving and moving with purpose, in other words, you've got to do something like change a slide on the laptop, move over to the flip chart to jot something down, etc., then move in silence. And that silence then can also be disguised as an extended pause. Number 3, you can change the pace. So if you want to talk about something really quickly and make sure the point's heard, or you can slow it down, ensure that whatever you're saying has landed the way you intended it to land, and that it's been understood in the manner that you'd like it to be understood. So change of pace and change of direction. If you come to a comma or full stop and you want to move in a different direction, a pause is a good time to do that. And finally, but not least, of course, it allows you to breathe and it allows you to relax and take in some oxygen. If you don't breathe and take in some oxygen, you are just going to get more and more nervous and more anxious. You do need to re-oxygenate your blood in order to think more clearly. You're under enough tension and nervousness and anxiety at the front of the room with this bunch of eyes looking at you. So the more you're able to breathe and pause, the more you're able to control your thoughts and deliver it with purpose in a more authoritative way. So those are the benefits for you. Now let's have a look at the benefits for your audience, which is, of course, is why you're there. So the benefits for your audience, again, only 4. There are more, of course, but these are probably the top 4. It just gives them time to absorb and process what you've just delivered. Now, particularly if you're in a complicated set of slides, that's another whole video. You shouldn't have very complicated, excuse me, very complicated slides, but if you do, it does allow them time to just absorb and process what you've just said without moving on too quickly to the next slide. It does feel less rushed. If you pause, allow them to digest and absorb what you've just said, then it doesn't feel rushed. They don't feel like you're rushing through the presentation in order just to run away and sit down, because then it does give them the perception that you are nervous and anxious, which is something you don't want to be showing them. It does create anticipation and drama for the audience, particularly if you're sharing a story that resonates with them and hits them on an emotional level. If you allow some space, some white space and a pause between different bits of the story, it does allow them to digest that information and allow them to get emotionally connected to you and your story and whatever facts, figures, or statistics you're attaching to that story in order for it to be recalled easier in the future. And of course, on a practical level, it allows them just to take notes, time to take notes and consider what they're writing and absorb what you've just said. Of course, I think Mozart actually said it best. And to quote him directly, the music is not in the notes, but in the silence between. And I genuinely think that's very, very accurate as far as an analogy for giving good presentations or giving good talk or sharing information in a presentation at work, for example. So metaphorically, we like very simple slides because we believe less is more. And if you draw that analogy to what you're saying on from a verbal perspective, it's also the same. Rather than just dump everything out to the audience, be selective about what you're saying. Make sure there's some white space, some silence between the words. Then everything you do say has more importance. Everything that you do say lands better for that audience. The next time you give a presentation, practice pausing. These days on your mobile phone or any portable device, just prop it up on some books somewhere, record yourself and consider the pauses that you're actually putting into what you're saying. How long are they? How frequent are they? Am I giving the audience enough time to understand and digest and simply take in what I've just delivered? If not, keep trying. Record yourself 3, 4, 5 times until you can build in those pauses. Is it uncomfortable? Yes, because none of us like the silence. But what I would say to that is get comfortable with the silence. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And by building in those pauses and creating that drama and that anticipation, counterintuitively, you're actually captivating your audience more. You're engaging them more because you're saying less and everything that you do say has more weight, it has more meaning, and those pauses will simply draw them in to what you're trying to say. So I really hope that's helped. By all means, comment, share. If this has helped you and you think it might help a colleague, please share it with them, because I do genuinely believe the power of the pause is one of the best kept secrets in terms of presentation skills. And it's so easy to do. Sorry, let me rephrase that. It's actually so simple to do, but not so easy to do. And the only way it becomes easy is for you to practice more and more, just by using a portable device, filming yourself and then practicing. So I really hope that's helped. Thank you very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time.